Hello, I'm back with a little video to show you some fly stitch and French knot. So here you can see I've stitched on this pumpkin, I stitched down the seam with the fly stitch and French knots on the sides. So let's get to it. I'm stitching with some red wool thread on an off-white background. I hope you can see that. So this is our fly stitch in a little smaller stitch than I used here on the pumpkin. I'm going to start over so you can see what I'm doing. And tie a little knot in my thread. And we will come up from the back and moving my thread over to the left so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to come down about 1/4 of an inch, and if you want your stitch a little bit bigger like I did on the pumpkin, it's twice as big, so I came down 1/2 inch. So come down 1/4 inch, and then we're going to come up on the left side across from this hole where we started, but a little bit below. Pull our thread, we get our straight line down, and we're going to come across, and we are going to go down straight across from that first stitch, the same distance apart, and come back up in the hole where we started. When you come back up, you want to make sure your loop is underneath the thread so that it gets caught and makes your little V. Now that one is a little bit bigger. Oh well. So come down the length of the stitch that you want it to be and back up over on the left side. Pull your thread. If you keep your thread down below, it'll work out just right. And put your needle back in on the right side, straight across from where you came up, and bring it back up in that same hole. And give it a pull. Make your little V. Okay, one more time. Keep our thread to the left. Come down the distance of our stitch length, about a little more than 1/4 inch, and come back up to the left of that hole a little below. Pull it through, we get that first line. Keep our thread down here below and come straight across and down and back up in that first hole again. Taking our stitch above our loop forms our little V. There. That one got a little funny, but it's even kind of cute. You could do that again and just make the next one bigger. Let's try that. Could alternate between big and little. Come over here again and then back up in that same hole. There, I kind of like that. That's cute. So we'll go back to the smaller one. Straight down, over to the left. Keep our thread down here. Across to the right side, back up in that first hole, and we get another stitch. Now if you're going to do it in a seam, you're just going to stitch these straight lines right down on the seam. As you can see, I just took them right down on top of the seam. You can't even see the seam. You look in the bottom, you can see how they end up right in the seam. Okay, to do French knot, we'll just go to the back. Tie that off. tie another knot. This is how I like to tie a knot in my thread. I just hold on to the end with my thumb, wrap it around my finger, and cross over the top. Fold that thread over and then roll it off my finger and pull. And it makes a knot. Okay, so I did French knots then here along the side. And French knots you can vary in size based on how many times you wrap it. I'm going to put this on top of here so I can have something to hold it. Okay, that's not going to work. I'll use this pincushion. Okay, so we bring our thread up and then you wrap the thread around your needle. And depending on the thread, with pearl, this was pearl cotton, and I probably did 3 wraps. This is wool. It's finer, so I'm going to do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 wraps around my needle. And then I'm just going to put my needle back in the hole where I came from and hold that thread with my thumb. It's got a little bonus thread there. And pull a knot. Do that again. Come up from the bottom. Just set it down. Wrap 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wraps. Put my needle back in that hole and pull it so that it's tight, but not too tight because you need to be able to pull the needle through. There, it's a little knot. I'll do another one. Come up from the bottom, wrap 5 times, or however many times your knot is. If you wanted a bigger knot, wrap more times. And then stick your needle back into the background. You can see I've pulled and already formed my knot. And then pull it through. So there's a French knot. If you wrap them the same amount of times and pull it the same tightness, they'll be about the same size every time. That second one, I don't know what I did, but there's a French knot and a fly stitch. Have fun stitching. See you later. Bye.